What's going on, people? Welcome back to another episode of the Mike Roach podcast. You already know who I am, your host, Mike Roach, TV broadcast assistant for the Toronto Raptors. And this podcast is brought to you by OXP Media and the Battle Canada series. Now, make sure you follow us on Instagram, oxp.media at Mike Roach7. Been telling you guys this the entire week. Okay, make sure to follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and wherever you get your podcasts, OXP Media on all those platforms. Now, guys, you know I've been giving you game-to-game reviews of the Toronto Raptors in the NBA playoffs. Game 2 is complete. It is a wrap. The Raptors are up 2-0 over the Brooklyn Nets in the first round of 2020 NBA Eastern Conference playoffs. Now, let's get right to it. This was a sloppy game for the Toronto Raptors. And anybody who has played, anybody who has coached, anybody who has been a fan of watching the game of basketball for a very long time knows that when you play as bad as the Raptors did for Game 2, when you come out with a W in the playoffs, you need to be happy about that. You really, really do need to be happy about that. And I will say this, and you got to give the credit to the Raptors, especially for this. Damn it, their defense goes a long way. It really, really does, because their defense really saved them against the Brooklyn Nets in Game 2, because those guys came out firing on all cylinders. Okay? Karis LeVert, Timothy Luwawu, came out firing. The Raptors were down big early. Largest lead was 14 points, and that was in the first quarter. And the Raptors came and they bounced back. Now, I didn't see them lead until the beginning of the fourth quarter, but at the end of the day, when you're the defending champions, you got depth, you got heart. Okay? If you're the Brooklyn Nets, you got to make sure that you don't only punch the Raptors in the face, you got to make sure you step on their back when you get the chance, and they did not do that. So it was absolutely no surprise to me that at the end of the day, when the Raptors got that lead early in the fourth quarter, they did not let up. Now, the X factor in this game was the Norman Powell. The Norman Sir Powell. 6-side bomb for Norman Powell. Norman Powell was nice. Norman Powell, let me give you some numbers here. 24 points, I believe 11 of 17 from the field. Did not shoot well from three-point range, but that's the beauty of having a wing player who can get the ball to the basket using his dribbling skills. Okay? You got to be able to create your own shot besides just being a catch-and-shoot player. You got to be able to do more than that. And when it comes to catch and shoot and not being able to create your own shot, we got to talk a little bit about OG Anunoby later on the show. But Norman Powell really gave Brooklyn the business yesterday. I loved the way he played. He was super aggressive. They really needed him because this was a time that the Raptors' offense at time can look shaky. They can really, really look shaky. They shot 9 of 35 from downtown, 26%. From three-point range. 9 for 35. That is bad. But listen, when you shoot a high volume of threes, there will be times where you're not going to shoot well. And there are other things you have to do, like get points in the paint, which they had in this game, 46, which is almost double what they had in Game 1. And it was opposite. Today, Brooklyn for Game 2 had 32 points in the paint. They had 48 in Game 1. But overall, the Raptors, like I said, just really, really did a good job with their defensive effort. Fred VanVleet had another good game. Pascal Siakam looked decent at best. I mean, if you can get away with Marc Gasol putting up donuts in the scoring column and OG not doing much either in the scoring column in the first round of the playoffs, and Norman Powell is your number one scorer when you're shooting abysmal from three-point range and also from the free throw line, 68%, 19 for 28. That's not very Raptors like. But at the end of the day, you got the job done. You got the job done, period. 23 points off turnovers, which is good compared to 6 for Brooklyn. And the Raptors, give them credit for this. They only turned the ball over 8 times. They only turned the ball over 8 times. Which means if you can do that, shoot that poorly from the field and come out with it, I'm telling you, you got to feel good if you're a Raptors fan right now and you come out 2-0 on top in the first round of the playoffs. Now, the Raptors for Game 3, I'm not sure what it's going to look like and who the X factor is going to be. At some point, it'll be OG Anunoby. And I really do want to see OG Anunoby start putting the ball in the basket a little bit more, because we know in the second round of the playoffs, the Raptors are going to be going up against the Boston Celtics. They are. And I'm not worried about the Raptors defense. The only thing that has me a little concerned about the Toronto Raptors when it comes to the second round of the playoffs is their offense. And a guy who can shoot like OG Anunoby is going to need to step up for the Toronto Raptors. I've been saying this over and over and over again. It's not that big of a deal right now in the first round. But there comes a time, and that will be the next round against the Boston Celtics, when you got those dudes who are elite in Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. I won't say elite, but they're nice. And they're going to go at OG Anunoby, Norman Powell, Fred VanVleet, Kyle Lowry. They're going to try and go at them and abuse them offensively. And we're going to need guys like OG Anunoby with his shooting capabilities, because you have to remember there's going to be a lot of wear and tear with OG Anunoby on the defensive end trying to guard those two guys. Okay, now the adjustments, I don't know what Brooklyn is going to do. I just think they're simply outmatched. They don't have the personnel to go up against the Raptors. But if you're the coach, you might want to start looking at a whole bunch of defensive schemes, just kind of like how Nick Nurse does. They call him the mad scientist. When we're talking about full court, half court traps, zones, all kind of double teams. I don't know what schematics you're going to use if you are the Brooklyn Nets. But damn it, you're going to have to try and do something. All right? You're going to have to try and do something. And that's on the offensive end as well, because you're going to flat out need to outscore the Toronto Raptors. And I'm not sure how they're going to do that. I mean, I'm really, really not sure. You don't have a bunch of great offensive pieces. Your guys are just going to have to make shots. So you're going to have some good play calling, because you're going to have to get these guys open. The only thing they're going to have to do now is knock them down. That's really it. Like Joe Harris, Karis LeVert, Timothy Luwawu. If you can get some easy baskets from Jared Allen, I mean, I have no idea what they're going to do. But it's not looking good for the Brooklyn Nets, and we all saw this coming. We all know what the outcome of this series is going to be. I'm not trying to be a jerk or anything. I'm just telling you from how I see it in regards to the rosters and the play. But overall, the Toronto Raptors look good heading into Game 3. Not sure who the X factor is going to be, but if I had to pick one, I'm going to go with Pascal Siakam. I think he's due for a game where he has to go off, at least for 23, 24 plus. All right, so I'll call Pascal Siakam as the guy who is going to be the X factor for Game 3, because a lot of the emphasis is going to be going on the Toronto Raptors guards. So guys, remember to follow us, oxp.media on Instagram, at MikeRoach7, OXP Media on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, and from wherever you get your platforms. I am your host, Mike Roach, TV broadcast assistant for the Toronto Raptors, and I'll be coming at you with another video again soon, post-game for the Raptors Brooklyn after Game 3. I'm out. Peace.